Once upon a time, a long time ago. After a day full of miracles, Jesus had just fed an entire crowd with only 5 loaves of bread and 2 fish. The people were amazed, but Jesus knew he needed a quiet moment to pray to the Father. So he told his disciples, "Get into the boat and go ahead to the other side of the lake. I will join you later." The disciples obeyed, still in awe of everything they had witnessed that day. The boat slowly drifted away from the shore as the crowd began to disperse. Meanwhile, Jesus climbed a nearby mountain, where the evening breeze was gentle and the sky was painted with the colors of dusk. There, he prayed in peace, while his friends sailed into deeper waters. It was the beginning of another great lesson that would forever remain in the hearts of the disciples. They did not know yet, but something extraordinary was about to happen that night on the waters of the Sea of Galilee. While Jesus prayed on the mountain, the disciples were already in the middle of the Sea of Galilee. The night went on, and suddenly, the wind began to blow fiercely. The boat rocked from side to side, and the waves crashed hard against it. The disciples struggled to row, but the wind seemed stronger than they were. The sky grew darker, the clouds hid the moon, and the sound of the raging waters filled the air. With every gust of wind, their hearts beat faster. It wasn't the first time they had faced storms at sea, yet fear still gripped them. They were tired, exhausted, and perhaps even wondered, why isn't Jesus here with us now? But what they didn't know was that Jesus had everything under control. Even though he seemed far away, his eyes never left them. That night would become unforgettable, an opportunity to discover who was truly in command. Suddenly, in the midst of the darkness and the roaring wind, something extraordinary began to happen. Out there, upon the restless waves, a figure was approaching the boat. The disciples widened their eyes, frozen in shock. "What is that?" they whispered to one another, straining to see through the mist and the night. With every step, the figure became clearer. It was someone walking on the water. The disciples' hearts pounded. They had never seen anything like it. Fear overwhelmed them, and some cried out, "It's a ghost!" The scene was far too terrifying to feel real. Yet deep inside, there was also a spark of curiosity and hope. Who could do such an impossible thing? Who had authority over the sea? As the wind howled and the waves crashed, that mysterious presence kept moving closer to the boat. A moment of revelation was about to unfold, and the disciples had no idea of the surprise awaiting them. As the boat was gripped by fear, the voice of Jesus cut through the roar of the wind and the crashing waves. With both firmness and gentleness, he said, "Take courage. It is I. Do not be afraid." Those words pierced the darkness like a light shining in the middle of the storm. The disciples' hearts, once terrified, began to calm down. They realized it wasn't a ghost, it was their master himself, walking on the waters as if it were the most natural place to be. Some looked at one another, still struggling to believe their eyes, while others began to smile with relief. Fear gave way to hope, and the tension of the moment was replaced by a deep sense of safety. Jesus was not only with them, he was showing that nothing was impossible for the Son of God. The sea and the wind, once so frightening, now seemed small compared to his presence. That night was no longer just a storm, it was the stage for an unforgettable miracle. Among all the disciples, Peter was the first to react. His heart was racing, but it was also filled with courage. He looked at Jesus and, almost without thinking twice, cried out, "Lord, if it is truly you, let me come to you, walking on the water." The other disciples glanced at each other in surprise. How could Peter come up with such a bold idea? But Jesus, with a confident smile, simply replied, "Come." Those words were like a direct invitation to faith. Peter took a deep breath, placed his hands on the edge of the boat, and with hesitant steps, set his foot upon the waves. To everyone's astonishment, he did not sink. He was truly walking on the water, moving toward the Master. The wind still blew and the waves still rose, but Peter's eyes were fixed on Jesus. It was a moment of courage, trust, and living faith in action before all the disciples. Peter was taking steady steps on the water when suddenly the wind blew stronger and the waves rose before him. His eyes, once fixed on Jesus, shifted toward the dangers around him. Fear gripped his heart, and at that very moment, he began to sink. Desperate, he cried out, "Lord, save me!" Immediately, Jesus reached out his hand and held him firmly. His gaze was not one of anger, but of love and teaching. With a calm voice, he said, "You of little faith, why did you doubt?" Peter, still breathless and soaked, felt the safety of being upheld once again by the Master's hands. The sea was still raging, but in his heart a deep lesson was being written. When we take our eyes off Jesus and let fear take over, we sink. But when we call upon him, his hand is always ready to lift us up. Faith does not mean the absence of storms, but the certainty that we are never alone in the midst of them. When Jesus and Peter climbed into the boat together, something amazing happened. Immediately, the wind died down, and the sea became as calm as a mirror. Silence filled the air, and the disciples marveled at what they had just witnessed and said, "Truly, you are the Son of God." For Peter, that moment would never be forgotten. He had walked on water, but he had also learned that faith remains firm only when our eyes are fixed on the Master. And for all the disciples, the lesson was clear. No matter how violent the storm, Jesus never abandons his own. Life may bring winds and waves, but his presence is greater than any fear. The message of that night still resonates today. Trusting in Jesus is the key to navigating life's turbulent waters with hope and victory. Don't forget to subscribe to the channel for more stories like this one. Share it and drop a comment telling us which story you want to see next. See you next time. God bless you.